This week, we go from the Brothers of Destruction to the Brothers of the Republicans.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. It is that time of the week again for your Cream of the Crop podcast. I am joined, as always, by KJ and actively watching the Mets game, Olas, who, as you can tell by his facial expressions, they are definitely up.
Yeah.
So if he seems more senile than usual, it's not that he's going. He's just distracted, which is fine. It'll make for even better content.
And I'm drinking, so
and he's drinking, yeah. Which I mean, I am too.
I'm sober.
Man, ain't a twist of events, isn't it?
I never drink. I don't think anymore.
Anymore, yeah.
Anymore is a key phrase. I'm still mad. There's a picture of me with a donut in my mouth, drunk as shit, floating on the internet.
And you'll see that picture right here. I'm just
You won't find it.
But
9-4.
Oof.
9.
Oof. I not to pull the turkey out a little early, but I do think
it's over.
I do think the turkey's done.
The goose is cooked. Stick a fork in this bitch.
It's fine. Hey, you still have the better New York team to cheer for in the World Series. Okay, bring one home to the state.
Podcast. Give me like an hour, and I'll be saying "Go Dodgers." But
hey,
well, give me like a week.
Don't you want it to come home to the state? Bring state pride.
No. Fuck the Yankees.
Oh man.
I grew up in New York. I had to deal with Yankees fans my whole life. Fucking 27 rings, bro. Shut the fuck up. Bunch of fucking losers. Most of those rings happened before you were ever fucking thought of, you fucking nutsack. The accent's coming out.
I know, man. Yeah.
We're in dangerous territory.
We're hitting some new territory tonight. Yeah. All right. I'm
not. We just we need all three of us just absolutely fucking drunk just to see what happens. You better fill up. Let's go.
You're behind. I'm good. You're behind. Get it together.
I'm sober. I have my Canadian blast friend over here.
All right. We have oh my lord. We have
They're already going off the rails.
Well, I expect no less.
I love it.
We have things to talk about tonight.
We do.
I can't tell if it's some good, some bad. A lot of it interesting.
Interesting is definitely the way.
Yeah, that's the word of the day, kids. It's interesting.
But do you know the way?
Do you know the way?
Do you know the way?
That's a funny meme.
It's all funny if you start clicking.
I don't know why it took me a second to realize what you meant by that.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna.
I was gonna do it, but I'm like, I mean, there's still no, it's not.
All right. As always, they start every week. A little this weekend geek and a lot of drama, mainly drama this week. No, it's all drama. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Not a single good fucking thing happened this week. Sorry, guys. We're gonna be super depressing with this. Let's just rip the fucking Band-Aid off. So, you remember Spiderman 2 came out a year ago, right, guys? You remember how there was all this. There was all these side missions that would inherently think that there would be some sort of DLC to that later down the line.
Correct.
Well, I have some great news. You'll be super excited. So the PC port comes out sometime in January, I believe. January 30th. And along with that PC port, you get absolutely fucking nothing because they're not dropping any DLC.
Yep. Yeah, they canceled it.
All the DLC got canceled, which is certainly a move. People are pissed about it, rightfully so.
I think you know what it is. because the 2018 game had 3 different DLCs that were all solid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck. So sorry. But it was all solid, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think we should expect games to have DLC, but when your first game had 3 DLCs and you were alluding to DLCs, and if I remember correctly, they basically said they were gonna have DLCs at some point.
It wasn't even that. DLC was found in the game already during the leaks, and that's why a lot of people are saying because of the leaks
They just scrapped it.
Yeah, they pretty much said, since y'all want to talk about the leaks, we'll just scrap it, scrap the whole thing.
Yeah,
What kind of abusive parent shit is that?
I get what they're saying, but at the same time, like, it fucking sucks.
Because that's what led to the multiplayer Spider-Man game being somewhat canceled, allegedly canceled.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because I know what they speculated Carnage was going to be part of the DLC.
Well, they definitely alluded to Carnage in the game.
Yeah.
Which okay, fine. If you're saving that for the next game, that's good. Because yeah, like Carnage is big enough of a villain for Spider-Man that should be its own game and not just a DLC. Fine with that.
I'm trying to think what some of the other
Hammerhead being a DLC is fine. You know what I mean?
It was Chameleon.
That's what Chameleon was the other
one. Beetle.
There's a weird pull from
because his name was mentioned in the DLC specific in the leak files. It wasn't gonna be a he either.
Oh, they were
Screwball.
Again?
DLC, yeah.
Oh yeah. And then what's her face? The
Black Cat.
No, the female spider.
Gwen Stacy?
Gwen Stacy?
No.
Silk?
Yes. I think they alluded to her at the very end of the game.
Yeah, but I don't think that would have been DLC.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they were alluding that for DLC, but I think it's just something that they could have expanded on.
Yeah.
Or brought more up. Because they just kind of threw that in at the very last end credit scene type of thing.
Also, no, don't they allude to the Spider-Verse too, don't you? Because one of the side missions is collecting the spider bots.
Which makes because the side mission makes no sense. Because that scene was written out of the Spider-Verse movie. So even if you've seen the movie, you have no context of that scene. Because basically it's the chick from the bar with no name.
Yeah.
And that's about it. So there was a deleted scene in the movie where he's supposed to be at the bar, Spot gets his powers, and then goes back because at the bar they didn't care who he was. He was a no-name. So he goes back, all powerful, he wrecks the fucking bar to prove that he's an A-list player.
Gotcha.
So.
But yeah, so if you were expecting or had any expectations, go ahead and eliminate them. But for the PC people, you'll be getting your PC port in January, which is definitely quicker than I thought they were going to do it.
The mods.
I mean, good.
Yeah, I mean,
mods are going to be decent.
Now I can finally fucking play it.
They'll probably add back in They'll
make the DLC suits for themselves.
No, they'll add the suits from the previous game.
Yeah.
Back into it. Hopefully they can find out a way to do the colorways for the new.
Oh yeah, where it changes the
Yeah, and they can fix some of the other ones because some of the color choices fucking suck.
Yes. Didn't they add
a chunk of them?
Didn't they add suits?
Yes, the 90s suits.
I didn't know.
That work for a charity.
So I played it when it first came out. I beat it, and then I stopped playing it. So I know they added some suits after the fact. I just didn't know what they added.
There are a group of suits that were designed by artists that all look terrible.
Of course.
There were
that Adidas suit.
Worse than that. The Adidas suit actually looks like a Spider-Man suit. Some of these just look like like over designed bullshit. Because there's like a Metro Boomin suit, which pissed everybody off because there is one that was designed for the comics that looks way better. So it's like, fuck it. All right. There are new game plus suits for the symbiote.
Okay.
Well, not suits, but colorways.
Right.
I'm assuming it's just different symbiote colors for like supposed to be
Yeah.
other symbiotes.
Not really. It's not like
okay.
that.
I was thinking like
It's like
Scream.
red. No, just like a red spider instead of a white one.
Gotcha.
The anti-venom armor has more like a black. The regular symbiote suit has a white and black variant that looks way better. Yes.
Get the classic blue
I think
in there. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I still stand by the classic blue Venom's my favorite.
I'm more of a fan of the blue and red tint they did in the 90s anime.
Yeah, that one's good too.
Show. What the fuck?
I know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I know, but fuck did I do? But it's cool. And then the charity suits that look god awful.
For charity, you can't say that.
No, they first released it for like $5. Like, and now it's added to the game for free.
Oh, okay.
They look like. You ever see those old cups with the blue and purple design? Like once you see the design, you know exactly what it is. It's a 90s ass design.
Blue and purple.
Like those styrofoam cups. It'd be like light blue with like purple.
Like the because it was the same meme they did with the Northern Lights thing out here, where it was like you could see the Northern Lights and it was just that design in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like their suits look like the opening of Saved by the Bell.
Gotcha.
When you say blue, you mean that like light
teal,
light blue.
Yeah.
Teal blue. But yeah. So prepare yourself. Following that, we're just get the video game ones out of the way, and then we'll discuss the non-video game one. Warhammer is now in some hot water. Kinda. I don't know if this is legit, guys. I'll be honest with you. So apparently Warhammer had a patch here recently where it supposedly nerfed some of the weapons in the game. And people are up in arms saying, hey, you're just doing the same shit that Helldivers did, and you saw what happened. I looked into it, and what it looks like is that there was a gun nerf for some guns in the like hardest difficulty mode of it. Yeah, so it's not even like the whole game, it's just the hardest difficulty got some weapon patches. And everything I'm seeing of it seems like they were legit because it was guns that were literally one-shotting bosses in the hardest difficulty. And I do like that the creators pretty much just came out and were like, guys, chill the fuck out. And here's the issue is in true PC gamer fashion, when something happens that they don't like, what do? We fucking review bomb them on Steam. That's what we decided to do because that's still how we handle things, which is stupid. But I mean, they've handled it well, the way they've come out and just explained kind of the reasoning for it. I think they're going to be pushing another balance fix to kind of adjust if it was an issue, but this review bombing shit's got to stop. Like, I'm so over it. Like, I understand if it deserves it, but this is a game that inherently is seemed to try to be true to the fans and like make the game well and handle it well.
But doing it because you got your panties in a bunch because you're a little bitch, like that's a different thing altogether.
Like in it, and I still think the Helldivers 2 one was unnecessary. You're talking a patch that can be reversed once they figure out, it is gaming. Like, stuff may not always work the way you think it does when you patch it.
This thing gave me a mild inconvenience, and I want to voice my displeasure because the consumer's always right, except I'm a fucking twat, so
Yeah. But I don't think this will affect the game whatsoever. I think this game's still widely popular enough. I more talk about it because I'm so tired of this trend of review bombing. Like, save that save that for the EA games, you know, like the shit that deserves it, where like they're blatantly screwing you, not for the games that are just trying to adjust the game and maybe over adjust, or you know, you don't even know what it adjusts, you just want to bitch because it looked like it might be, you know, I just gets on my nerves. Now speaking of games that do deserve some grief, Overwatch 2 is also in some hot water right now. No, I wouldn't say hot water, but the community's kind of upset right now. They had their newest season started last Tuesday, and with every new season comes new patches. And one of the ones, and this one bugs the fuck out of me. I'm not one that usually like gets annoyed, but this one got me a little bit. So they reworked a bunch of the tanks. Maga, who is the newest one, who's kind of the Samoan with the dual. No, we'll talk about that here a little bit.
Trying to make Overwatch great again.
God. But he got a bit of a buff because they're really trying to push him, and a lot of people are saying they're doing that because I guess he's going to be getting a new like mythic skin or something, so they're trying to push. They're noticing a trend where they're dropping characters, like well-liked characters, to push other characters that are having skins coming out. And I've never really paid attention to that till here recently, where it's like, so the reason I'm annoyed is one of the tanks that they nerfed was Ramatra, who, if you don't follow Overwatch 2, the whole premise that this character was based on is he's an anti-tank tank. So all the tanks that have like the shields and all that stuff, one of his main powers lets you hit them through that shield. That was like something he was sold on. This patch, they just took that away. So you can't do that anymore.
That's dumb as shit.
Like the whole thing you built this character around, he can't do. They go, oh, well, he does double damage to the shields though. So Flats, who's like one of the bigger Overwatch streamers, tested it. It takes, I think, 9 hits to break a shield. And that's not killing the person, that's just breaking the shield. So now you've inherently almost quadrupled the kill time for this guy and made him useless. Another one they messed with was Sombra, who's the stealth backlaner. They took her invis and just made it, you have a 5-second invis, which is completely useless. So yeah, a lot of the Overwatch community is not happy right now. I'm curious if there's going to be any adjustments. In Overwatch fashion, I don't think there will be. I think it'll be hey, get the fuck over it, and you're still going to play. Who knows? But, and then the last piece I have for the week, which, you know, out of all the Twitch streamers we've talked about, I don't think we've discussed this guy before. Asmongold decided to just really try to one up the Twitch drama gang we have going on, and really said some quite interesting, put it this way, it's stuff that I can't say right now because we would get in trouble for saying these things.
I mean, we're just saying what he said. We could say
no, I'm not fucking risking it.
Not even try.
We'll allude that it was very Third Reich-ish.
Christ.
I mean, that's kind of what it was.
Oh yeah, no, you're not wrong.
We start talking people being inferior species and shit like that. Like we're really hitting some
inferior culture.
You can try to twist it all you want. It still sounds the same coming out of your mouth. So
yeah, no. Once you use inferior to any group of people, you're fucking just wrong.
And of course this guy's, he's very drama heavy anyway, between his hoarding and his weird takes. And it's a shame because, and I feel like I've said this to Olas before, for every like 30 terrible takes this guy has, he kind of has one that I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense actually. I think the one we talked about recently was the Dragon Age one. where it's like the character creation, you can have transitional surgery scars. And his comment was that I didn't, and this isn't to be misconstrued some way, shape, or form, but the comment he made is that seems odd in a world of magic that you would need to have surgery to transition. And I didn't think about it. I was like, that actually kind of made sense. Although I don't think the way he meant it was in any kind of like helpful way.
Yeah.
But so apparently, which I guess I got clarification from you guys that his Twitch got banned, but it's not his actual Twitch.
It's not his
personal
actual streaming Twitch. Yeah, it's like because he has multiple Twitch accounts apparently.
Yeah,
which is also weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's sorry.
He's struggling.
The Dodgers won.
Oh man!
So it's Dodgers Yankees World Series, which every executive at Fox is fucking coming in their pants right now. Since they made the graphics 2 weeks ago, but that's besides the point. No, but yeah, it's his like personal account, which had nothing to do with him. He wasn't logged in on that personal account when he was streaming and made those comments.
Yeah.
So like, it's a weird. Okay, what did you ban him for? Like, what did you ban that account for? Because that account had nothing to do with what he said.
Said fuck Fitty. What did I do?
Yeah. Fuck you saying? What are you saying? Fuck me for? Like, yeah, that's.
But he did lose his PC. Well, not lose, but he's removed from that.
His what?
Oh, he stepped down from.
Oh, wouldn't he like part of something? Yeah.
Is it OTK? Is the
OTK, and then there's PC company that's separate.
Isn't it like Star something or?
Yeah,
whatever it is. But so, yeah, it's the usual shit.
Star
but
Forge.
then like the other fucking dickbag that went away for a while, and we said we were going to talk about, came back and got a bunch of weirdos fucking. Oh my god, I support you no matter what because I love you. I like fucking kids too, like that kind of shit. Like that's.
Sorry,
This is the voice. The voice caught me off guard.
Yeah.
That's fine, man. I'm just, I'm just trying to paint a picture for all these fucking losers out there that are.
Jesus.
What?
But I guess he did come out with an apology.
What
video.
I say that was wrong.
You know what?
Nothing you said was wrong.
It was the voice.
So fuck him.
Yeah.
Fuck him. You want to get offended? Fuck you. Like that's.
But I guess he did make an apology video, or kinda.
He basically said because he's been streaming for so long and he's just like so full of hate, he just became that person. Like,
let's disassociate. It wasn't me. It was you guys made me do that. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean his whole thing, like I know nothing of the guy, like from his beginnings.
Yeah.
Other than he's like a scumbag who doesn't know how to take care of himself and had to hire people to like clean his shit or whatever, and like
he has roaches crawling on him. He's a millionaire that has roaches crawling on him constantly.
Like, imagine not knowing how to pick up after yourself and you're fucking like in your 30s and shit. Like, that's crazy to me. So like I don't know what his I guess he was just like kind of a goofy dude that liked video games and then turned into this like weird grifter of like I'm just gonna say shit because I got this weird like influx of fucking like loser virgins that like wanna fucking like pretend that all of these things are like the world's biggest problems ever, even though it's like 1% or less than 1% of like population of shit. And it's like, oh my god. Like I can't believe that this guy wants to be a girl or vice versa, and then like this totally affects my worldview in every single aspect of my life. Even though I probably have never run into any of these people whatsoever, so I'm gonna let it cloud my whole worldview. Like it's just a weird thing. So he just panders to this weird audience now of like, oh my god, do I have to play as the girl in fucking Assassin's Creed or Ghost of Tsushima, Yote, whatever the fuck the sequel is? Like, he just says weird shit now, and it's just like, oh, you're just trying to get as much views as possible to pander to your weirdo fucking virgin audience.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in an age where
Sorry, I have no fucking
hey,
patience for his bullshit.
I get it.
Every time I see a clip of him, it's always like something terrible. Like I have no I don't consume his content. And then it's just like, what is happening?
Because anytime I've sent Olos one, I have to preface. I go, this is usually how the message goes. I'll send him the video and go, I don't agree with 90% of this, but this 10% take is kind of interesting. What's your opinion on this? It's like, well, the rest of it's nonsense, but like this one.
It's funny though, because like you can say that about so many different things, right? Like if you look at like the whole red pill thing, you're like, man, if you would just like never say 90% of the things you said, but you like do that generalization of like, hey man, you should work out and like take care of yourself and all this stuff, like, yeah, positive image and all this other stuff. But by the way, women are whores and you should totally fucking make them submit to you. And you're like, wait, hold on, what the fuck just happened? What just happened? Like you were on a thing here, like I was totally with it, and then all of a sudden you were like, yeah, and whores deserve less money than men because you're whores and all you do is suck dick. And I'm like, wait, what just happened? Like,
how did we get here?
Yeah,
at what
who
point
hurt you, bro? Like that
women?
What the fuck happened? And it's like I'm just confused. Like you can say some things and be like, yeah, and it sucks because every once in a while, and there's so many different, you can apply that to so many different things where you're like, wow, I really liked that thing, and then you continue to speak, and then I hated everything you ever said ever, and I'm like, fuck, now I feel like a piece of shit because I went, wow, I like this, and then I like 10 seconds later, I'm like, wow, now I look like, am I a piece of shit? Like what happened? Like I can't.
Yeah, and that's
I can't write off on this. Like,
so that's what I referenced was obviously the transitional scars one from Dragon Age, where it's like, yeah, like that is quite a take of like, why would you need that in a mythical world where there's magic that could do all this? And then I did go back and watch the whole thing, and I go, God damn it, why did I kind of like agree to this? Because the whole rest of this is awful. Like this is just, it's so bad, and now I feel like shit because I go, like you said, like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Not the rest of it, but this one particular part that I'm gonna.
It's tough, man. Like, listen, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Like, so every once in a while, like, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. Like, however many metaphors you want to throw in there to be like, yeah, man, this is like, this totally makes sense. And then you're like, oh, okay, never mind. This dude, like, diddles kids and shit. And you're like, oh, fuck. Like, I don't know what just happened. Like, I was totally on board. And then, like, this guy's a sex trafficker. And you're like, wait, what happened? Like, I don't. It's tough, man. You don't. It's 2024, and you don't know who you can trust these days.
Watching
like,
streamers is the equivalent of John Travolta from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, you're just
Tarantino movie.
You never know what. Yeah, it's like one twist and turn after another. Yeah,
just waiting for the N-word to pop out.
Yeah,
just randomly.
I was 100% wondering where you were going with that. I was like, I'm gonna let him go. Let's see where it goes.
It's exactly where it was going.
It's happening somewhere.
Yeah,
and not from the sources you expected to. Like that's
exactly
the thing. Like it's always coming from that guy. You're like, you don't need to say it, and then you're like, oh, he said it. Oh, okay.
So many black people, and then the white guys.
Like, how many times do you think Tarantino like wrote himself to say it, to be like, just in Pulp Fiction, and you're like, oh wow, you like general. You really like, but just using that as an example,
he wakes up every morning and just says it.
Yeah, first thing he says in the morning.
Oh Lord. Well, you know what? That seems as good of any of a reason to transition.
People are speaking of broken clocks.
Speaking of scars, yeah, let's transition.
Oh, okay. All righty then. Wait, no.
Oh god.
I don't want to say that.
I
can't. What? All right, T then? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm just doing the bit from fucking.
I don't even know where this is going anymore.
Like it's just the T part is.
Where were we going? Like, where did you want to segue to?
I was trying to segue to fucking guessing games, but.
Oh, I was trying to segue into fucking Jim Cornette being right twice a year.
Oh god.
I mean, listen, as somebody who listens to him and I don't agree with all of his takes.
Wait, we're forgetting.
Oh, go ahead.
We're forgetting an important bit in This Week in Geek. Creature Commandos, DC. We forgot to talk about.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot
we are up 2 minds of James Gunn running the DCU.
Yeah, so we have opposing theories here. So KJ is definitely on the pro James Gunn.
There's 2 ends.
I was like, wait, where? I didn't know where this was going, but yeah,
I'm at an end for Gunn.
Yikes. And what I mean by that is, so him and I disagree as far as, well, I wouldn't say disagree, but he is more excited for the James Gunn's DC than I am. I'm very nervous because unlike most of the population, I don't think Suicide Squads were that good of movies.
Well, one is not.
I don't think either one of them. Well, I mean, isn't it though? I thought James Gunn was part of the first one.
No. Yeah, no involvement in the first one.
Well then, I don't like either of them. But
basically, DC gave him an opportunity to do Superman.
Yeah.
He said no, he didn't want to do it. And then they said, "What about Suicide Squad?" And basically said, "Sure, you can do whatever you want with the team. You can kill them all off, or I think the only caveat was Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the second Suicide Squad is boring as fuck.
Okay.
So much so that the first initial time I watched it, I fell asleep during it.
Okay.
I did rewatch it. There are good parts of that movie, but overall, I think it's pretty mid.
Okay.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
But I think it gets overhyped as how good it is.
Follow-up question. How do you feel about the Zack Snyder Justice League movie?
Oh, that's dog shit. It's terrible.
Oh, okay. I'm not talking about the one that came out in theaters. I'm talking about the
re-release
version. Yeah.
So let me preface this. It's shit no matter what. The re-release helps make sense.
Yeah.
It's still bad.
Okay.
It really, like, the benefit to that re-release is it finally connects some fucking dots that we just never talked about. But overall, it's still a bad movie.
Okay.
No, and this isn't like I'm a Snyder fanboy because he's put out some really bad shit too. It's more, I like what Gunn did with Guardians. I like that, but I think the benefit to that is that as a group, unless you were like a diehard Marvel fan, you don't really know shit about.
Yeah. He took what most people assume is a blank canvas and made his own characters with that team.
Yeah. Where you're giving this guy very defined characters. And I just don't.
Also super established characters.
Yeah.
But look,
that's a big difference.
Yeah.
You have, like you were saying, like a blank canvas, so to speak. You have way more fucking wiggle room to fuck around with.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, your Batmans and your Supermans, like, you don't have that kind of, way to kind of mess around with that because people are really going to be way more up in arms about.
The thing is, I say he does though, because look what Zack Snyder did with Superman and Batman.
Yeah, and no one liked it.
Well, I mean, that's dedicated fan base due to that. Look at Nolan; he kind of took the Batman mythos and kind of made it his own.
I'm not saying you can't take it and make your own.
More in like almost in a reality sense, where it's like
I hate the whole realism thing. Unless there are certain heroes that go with you can do a more grounded approach. Batman, yes, but to an extent. I hate when it's over realistic. Let there be room for goofy shit because comics inherently are goofy.
Yeah.
I mean, there was definitely goofy shit in the Nolan trilogy. But it was more
like give space for your Mr. Freezes, your Clayfaces, Poison Ivy. Sure. Like go out there with. I think
that's a thing. Yeah, I think that's the thing that most people, because with the whole MCU and now the DCEU and
we
DC,
keep adding
whatever,
letters. I don't know.
Whatever they're doing now, like whatever they're calling it now,
DCU.
it's brought in a lot of non-traditional like comic fans that are just into it. Like, and this isn't a knock on my wife, but my wife was not a comic fan, but she loves the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Right. So like a lot of the goofiness was not something she was expecting because it, like it has a lot of comic elements in it. You're allowed to have that because that's what comic fans are expecting, and they're comic book characters. So you need to have that kind of thing. Which is why, like, so with the Nolan trilogy, because it was more reality based, is why, I mean, they were also just good movies. All the movies were good, so that's why they were. But the first one was
third one's fine. It's not the. That's what happens when your main bad guy dies and you have to pivot very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean Tom Hardy did a really good job with Bane.
Yeah.
To make him entertaining as he was, and very and the thing is like very quotable, right? Which is why like
everyone does
what's
the
his name?
voice.
Yes, same thing with
Heath Ledger.
Oh my God, what's his name? Who played Thanos? Thanos was a very quotable villain where you're like, oh shit, like this is so fun to like do. It's the same thing. Bane was so quotable. Obviously, Heath Ledger's Joker was so quotable. What?
Perlman. Ron Perlman. Wasn't that the guy who played Thanos?
No, that's Hellboy, isn't it?
Yes, that's Hellboy. Josh
Brolin.
Josh Brolin. I want to say Nolan, but yeah, Josh Brolin.
He was in the running of playing Hal Jordan.
God.
He's not, but
I'm glad.
Like, Jesus Christ, stop casting the same people.
How many movies are you gonna be in, you bastard? No, but
there's where
I like Josh Brolin, but
here's where my issue stems, and we'll just go off some of the people we've discussed. So Nolan, to me, that is almost a perfect iteration of what Batman should look like. The darkness to it.
Other than the Bat voice.
The Bat voice, obviously, that's a little silly. But
I love Christian Bale, but the Bat voice was just
that Batman isn't, and that's what I like about Pattinson's Batman. It is a dark Batman. Batman is not inherently supposed to be comedic. Like that is, we
made jokes as Batman.
Do what?
He made jokes. They were dry humor jokes. Yeah, but they were jokes nonetheless.
But I'm saying
the thumb drive bit.
I'm saying that's why, like, if we're comparing here, okay, your Batman and your Guardians of the Galaxy is very two different types of humor.
Yes.
I'm not saying Batman can't be funny, but it's not meant. It is a dry humor. It is a serious comedic humor, not like a slapstick. That is kind of the whole point, is that he is this dark presence that isn't, doesn't have feelings. There should be
a contrast.
That's why you have your Dick Grayson, who is the comedy part of that. Yes. Dick Grayson is the humor in that. The Robins themselves, outside of kind of Jason Todd to a degree, are the humor of that. And I'm concerned.
You don't think Gunn can pull it off?
Yes, I just don't think he can pull. He executes the comedic characters fantastically. Peacemaker was good. I think he executed that well and made that character accurate to my depiction of what I would think Peacemaker is. Guardians was great because that group is a comedic group, but when there were serious moments, it didn't diminish from that.
Yeah.
I think you could get away with it with Superman.
It's just when you expand that, how does this work for other characters?
Your Wonder Woman's, I don't think you can get away with that as much. Your Batman,
Wonder Woman. Okay, I feel like Wonder Woman and Batman are in the same boat of humor, of that dry humor.
Yeah.
Because Wonder Woman's whole bit is she doesn't know what everything is.
Yeah.
Thinking more like Rosario Dawson's portrayal in the animated movies.
Yeah.
Where she doesn't know what ice cream is. Stuff like that. That should be that should be the bit. But
your Green Lantern, depending on which one we're doing, you can. Hal Jordan, you
they're
can.
doing.
Guy Gardner, you can.
Yes, you can.
John Stewart, not as much to me. I don't think John Stewart's
he should be a straight man.
Yeah, that should be your more serious character. But
older Hal Jordan shouldn't be as quippy.
It differs because there's so many iterations of where Hal Jordan, depending where he's at.
If it's post Parallax and like, hey, he's the top Green Lantern, it shouldn't be as jokey. Yeah.
But
that's what it seems like they're doing.
That's just my issue. That's the other issue I have is the continuity of the timeline. I'm just not sure.
We're doing the same thing they did for. The best way to compare it is how they did Spider-Man in the MCU, whereas you don't. They are past the origin story point.
But
we don't need to see the origin story. We're already in a world that has superheroes in it.
And I'm fine with that. Like I'm all
for that. I
actually
really like the way they did that.
Yeah.
And I don't need Uncle Ben.
They also did because they also did two separate universes of Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Within when did
10 years.
When did
Spider-Verse
Civil War come out?
2017,
16,
15, 16 maybe?
Because it came out during the same time as Batman vs Superman.
So
they're like months apart.
Like 2015, 2016, give or take.
I would say 2016.
2016.
So you figure you had the 2002 Spider-Man movie with Tobey. Then you had, when did the first Andrew Garfield movie come out? 2006?
2006?
Is it?
I would say 2009.
Hold on, let's just look it up so that I'm not.
I would say 09.
The Amazing Spider-Man. 2012. Okay.
Oh man, I was way far
off. I was
off.
way off.
We were way off, but fuck it, right? And then let's see. From 2012, and then what was
4 years since the last Spider-Man was introduced.
So, yeah. So then 2014 was The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then Captain America
2016.
Yeah.
Civil War. Was it 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 4 years since the last
Spider-Man. 2 years removed from the last bit of Spider-Man. Right? And then they like touch on it and he goes, when what happened, and you're like, okay, everybody already knows. You don't have to go into the whole I got bit by a spider.
Yeah.
And then he goes, with everything that she's been through, I don't want to put more stress on her. Obviously alluding to Ben. You're like, perfect, right? Like, we already know. We don't have to do more of it. Perfect.
Actually, they don't do the Uncle Ben is killed in the MCU. The Uncle Ben part is actually erased. No.
It's alluded to. They just don't do it.
They allude to Uncle Ben is not there. They don't allude to him being killed because they end up saving the great powers, great responsibility bit for Aunt May in No Way Home because she dies.
Which is stupid.
I think it's in in Civil War. I think when he's talking to Tony, he goes, when she's already been through so much in the last however much, either that or the first like standalone movie. He makes a comment about what she's been through, which obviously alludes to Ben dying. So you're like, okay, perfect. We've established the origin of him. He says in Civil War he's only had the power for like 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, perfect. We don't have to go through the whole fucking origin rigmarole again. I think that's handled perfectly. So we don't need to do that every time we reset the character.
Yeah. The thing I hate with it is you establish some really good characters. As bad as the Snyderverse is, there's some good establishment. Henry Cavill is a perfect Superman, and I will stand by that to the day I die.
I don't get that.
He embodies what I would view as what Superman looks like and acts like.
I don't want to see that one. Well, him as a person or him as Superman?
Just in general. Like as the hip kids say nowadays, his aura just screams Superman.
I don't see it. I guess I've been ruined by everyone bringing up how great the Snyder verse is and specifically Henry Cavill as Superman. And every picture I've seen of Superman from Man of Steel and whatever all those Snyder movies, he doesn't look like a hero.
Oh, I would inherently disagree.
He's always scalding his eye, or they always use the picture of him with his heat vision active and his red eyes. He always looks like a villain. Especially since the Snyderverse came out, and people always want to post pictures of him in the black suit. I get
maybe
where it
he'd
comes
make
from.
a really good Injustice Superman.
Yeah, he'll make a good Ultraman.
I'd come.
But then I'm like, him as a person, like the guy who builds PCs, the guy who's really into Warhammer, the guy from The Witcher, like the actor himself could probably do a great Superman. Like that's what I wanted, but it's like it just.
But
even
then,
gritty.
So taking what you're saying, that still seems to me less on him and more on a director.
Yeah. Oh no, I separate actors from movies. Henry Cavill could probably be a great Superman. He does have the look.
I think he looks better than what we have right now. If we're comparing, I think he inherently looks more like a Superman than what we have now.
Than Corn Sweat?
Yes.
No.
And I'm gonna preface this. I think every screenshot I've looked at this Superman movie looks terrible. There's not one that I've seen that looks good.
They're set photos,
and I pray that the edit makes it look better. But the fucking Power Ranger style uniforms, I just can't get down with.
I mean, let's see.
New 52. It has a new 52 look, and that takes time to get used to. Because when I first saw it, I kind of hated the suit. But the more I'm like, this is New 52.
It just screams SPD Power Rangers to me.
Here's what I'll say, and I know this point has been made for years and years. I'm always a let's wait and see what happens kind of guy, because when everybody, the initial reaction, imagine Twitter today if Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker.
Yeah.
Prior to Heath Ledger being the Joker and the shit that he did before, and you're like, really? This guy's gay. Who the fuck cares about this guy? But you know what I'm saying? It's that kind of, you would get so many weird responses, and then he did what he did, and you're like, fuck, man. Anybody playing the Joker now is gonna pale in comparison to how he did it, because he really, for as much shit as he got for being not that kind of actor, he really embodied the method actor type of thing.
Yeah.
That way, you're like, wow, he really lived and breathed this character, and he did such a tremendous job. So it's hard. I always want to go, all right, let's just see what happens. Now, don't get me wrong. If it comes out and it's shit, right? There's nothing we can do about it. But I don't want to automatically write it off as I don't like.
And that's not what I'm trying to do by any means.
The on-set photos of I mean, it's before post-production, and obviously they're going to touch up some things, and they're going to make things look better than they are, because Hollywood's going to do what they do.
Yeah.
And, it is what it is. I hope for the best. If it's not great, then it's not great. And we call it what it is, and we move on. And hopefully,
Have they announced who's Batman yet?
No, they're still casting.
See,
it's not coming out until 2026. So they still have plenty of time.
Okay, that's what I couldn't remember when. But see, for me, I still wish you did such a good job with the Pattinson Batman of this is a solid year 2-3 Batman. Yeah. Keep him. Let him be the Batman that you're going to partner with this Superman. The timeline makes sense because you're doing a year 2-3-ish Superman. So that makes sense.
Apparently this Superman has been around for a while.
What's I'm saying? Year 2-3, that's, I would say that's a while.
So I'm confused, and maybe you guys can help me too. The Penguin, right? Is that
it's the Batman?
Pattinson.
Okay, that's so Pattinson why wouldn't they?
Because the Batman they're going for is a
Brave and the Bold.
They want to do later Batman, not
older Batman.
They're doing Batman has older a kid Batman,
but not full Bat family.
I don't mean like old
Yeah.
Batman. I mean just like older than Pattinson
40s.
Batman.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're looking
okay.
at 40s Batman.
Not
We're
that
looking
I
at
mean, listen, Pattinson looks young, but he
Yeah.
is
yeah. No, because
older.
when
But
you say old Batman, I think more like the Dark Knight Returns kind
Yeah,
of.
where he's
Not
like 70.
the
right,
movie.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Not
I
the
didn't
movie, but
I didn't
comic.
mean that. I just meant older than how Pattinson was
Yeah.
portrayed.
So Pattinson,
okay.
I believe they specify
A
that
veteran
Pattinson is
Batman.
year 3 Batman. So this isn't
Yes.
this
Around.
isn't
Right.
he just started where Nolan like that was year 1 Batman. He's done this for a few years. He's still kind of figuring it out. But
Yeah.
like he's
known
dealt
by the
with the
police.
Joker, he's dealt with, the Penguin. I think they allude to
Right.
Two-Face in it to a degree.
Yeah.
Um
I think it's pre-Dent Art Face.
yeah.
I think
I
there
think
is
he's
no
still a
Two-Face yet.
lawyer, yeah. And to me, like, if you were gonna restart, start there. The starting with the whole Bat family seems odd.
If he wants to do a more like dynamic comic book verse where all the superheroes are mostly introduced, you just need to introduce them fully to the audience. I would do a Bat family because this is something we haven't had yet. We
Yes,
haven't had like we've never had a decent Robin in a movie. We haven't
Yeah.
had most of the Bat family introduced in
Chris
movies.
O'Donnell. That's who I was trying to think of who
Yeah.
the fucking Robin was from the George Clooney ones. Chris O'Donnell.
It's
And
like, hey,
Alicia
dude.
Silverstone is the Batgirl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batgirl? Yeah.
I don't know if they
So,
officially
do-
name her as Batgirl, but yeah.
I think so.
Do they? I can't remember.
I think they did because she.
I don't
she
remember a
wore the
lot from
full
those
suit and
movies.
everything. Yeah.
Bat nipples.
Fucking
She didn't have bat nipples though.
Seal had the great fucking Kiss from a Rose for the soundtrack. Oh,
Yeah.
man, it was great. Like,
But yeah, no, I want a more like, hey, fuck it, let's just put all of DC in this. Let's show off the cast of characters instead of starting from day one and having to slowly introduce all these characters that we've seen before.
Yes, the issue you run into that is kind of the same issue they did that Snyder had with Justice League. Is that we want to throw all these characters in and then try to force feed some backstory because you gotta understand
You're gonna run into that.
this
problem.
isn't gonna be just us, the people that know these characters, and like
Yeah.
we know the backstory. This is for the girlfriends and moms and dads and shit that don't know these characters. You're gonna have to force feed some backstory then.
This is more like a world with superheroes and go, oh, that character, going by the audience,
Yeah.
their reaction to certain people. Oh, that person's cool. I want to know more about them. Hey, we can greenlight a movie about this character. Let's say Hawk Girl's confirmed for the Superman movie. People are interested in that character
Yeah.
because she looks cool. She's probably played well, and the audience reaction is, "Oh, that's cool. We want to know about her." So they greenlight a show or a movie to say, "Hey, here's that Hawk Girl show because y'all asked for it."
But see, at least
If not, you can just keep it moving.
But see, I think it's hard to compare her to the Bat family. I don't feel that Hot Girl needs a lot of backstory because there's not really that much to it.
Debatable.
I mean,
Because then you go, which Hawk Girl is it?
that's
Are
true.
we doing the reincarnation bit? Are we doing the like?
And that's true. I do have have they specified which one they're doing?
I think it's not
Justice League Unlimited.
no,
Hot Girl.
that's Shire Hall.
That's good. I knew it was started with an S.
Their names are all. We did this bit
Yeah,
where I named all three. It's Shire Hall. Then there's Carter Hall. No, because there are three versions.
But I
And
just,
they're all named the same.
not to mention, he's had some casting decisions that I kind of question. However old Nathan Fillion is playing
As Guy.
Guy Gardner's a choice. What's his name from Eternals being Booster Gold?
I don't think that's confirmed.
Was it not? I keep seeing everywhere that
Everyone's
they've
it's a myth
confirmed
that-
it's him.
I don't think so, but if it is, I'm not that interested.
See, I am, just because I like some of the, like, I'm a big fan of the Blue Beetles, the Booster Golds, and when I see Booster Gold, especially in seeing him in Twisters now, I just can't not see Glenn Powell be Booster Gold.
Yeah.
Because that just seems perfect.
So you have Shira Saunders, Kendra Saunders, and Shira Hall.
And Shira Hall's from Unlimited.
Yes.
Okay.
Kendra Saunders is the Hispanic one.
Is she the current one they're using in 52?
Yes. I think Kendra is the new one.
Gotcha. Look, and I'll iterate like Olas did. I hope it's good. As a comic fan, I want these movies to be good. You know, I'm not one that I'm just gonna bitch and moan just because it's not who I want.
Because there are absolutely people that don't want it to be good.
They want it to fail.
Which is a weird thing to do. Like, why do you want things to not be good? Like,
Yeah,
I want to enjoy things. I don't want to hate watch shit.
You've never seen the Snyder Reddit. It is completely a bunch of people saying, "I want Guns versus to fail because if it does fail, they'll hire back Zack Snyder."
No, they won't.
No, they won't. They'll just hire someone else.
Just do somebody else.
Yeah.
And they'll just wait a couple more years.
They'll just reset again and fucking do something completely different that you'll bitch about, and then go, "Oh, I wish they did this time." But I kind of miss James. Yeah, like it's just a fucking stupid thing.
I hope it's successful. My issue is just I'm not sold on it in the sense of just stuff I've seen and work that he's done in the past. No. I'm super, now that they've announced the Green Lantern cast, I'm super about that. I'm excited to see that. The Creature Commandos, although I don't know if he has a hand in that per se, that looks really good, you know.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about the Supergirl movie because that starts filming soon.
Have they? Who's playing?
They cast a Supergirl. I believe she was.
That's one I haven't seen. I haven't seen who they've cast. And that's another one. Like, she has a crazy good backstory that I would love to see, you know, not done by the CW.
Millie Alcock.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. She played the younger Rhaenyra.
Shit, I hope and I stand that he is a great rendition of this character, and I have a feeling Porto's gonna tell me to go fuck myself on this one. Emil is a fantastic Green Arrow. And I hope that if he does do Green Arrow, I would love to see them at least try with him. Even if it's a one and done, yeah. Even if it's just one, and like we see if it works, and if it doesn't, we try it somebody else. There he is.
Even the male's autograph on hand.
I thought you didn't like him. That's why I was
a big fan of the Arrowverse. Oh no, some of the things he said are weird. Yeah. The whole writer strike thing is weird. And the whole I think it was some brony joke.
Oh,
he hates the he hates the grave meme.
Yeah, that's a weird hill to die on.
He hates Gunn because it was Peacemaker. Peacemaker made a joke about Green Lantern fucking ponies.
Oh yeah.
And he was so pissed about he was so tight about it. Because I think it spawned from him like wearing like a brony merch or him being seen with brony merch.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that.
So it's like that's like he's a dumbass for that bullshit. But other than that, I think he wasn't a great Green Arrow.
For what that budget was of that show, I think he's great.
Yeah. For what they gave him, because they wanted to do a Batman show.
It was Batman, yeah.
Yeah.
Even then though, in his defense, they had, even in comics, they have kind of transitioned that Green Arrow into kind of into the comedic Batman. He is the more comedic Batman.
Yeah, he's a hippie. He's a socialist hippie.
But so I hope it's good. Jesus Christ, I'm powering. I hope it's good.
How did you feel about 9/11?
Nope.
Okay, we're not talking about that one.
No. Hey, I got characters for you guys to guess. I know. We're just gonna keep going.
Time to play a game. Jesus fucking Christ.
All right, which one of you jackasses going first?
Me.
Okay. Feeling ballsy today?
I feel angry, so let's just do it.
Double down. All right, let me get my handy dandy stopwatch. All right. I got your. You know what? I think you'll get this one. I feel like this is one that you would know. So I have all the faith in the world. I have made an executive decision to raise it from 60 seconds to 90 seconds.
Okay.
I just don't feel like 60 seconds is fair, especially when you all do the tag team one. I'm going to give you a little more time on that as well. So, executive decision. If you're watching and you think that's stupid, you can like and subscribe.
Oh, I mean, that too.
So, if you're new to this, it's become a kind of a reoccurring game now that I have fun doing. That I give these guys some test questions. So we have Olas, we try to have him guess a video game character. KJ, we try to give him a comic book character. And then I give them the tag team option to try to guess a wrestler. And that's usually how we transition into our wrestling portion of this podcast. So, Olas, if you are ready, 90 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now.
Okay. Recent.
No.
Game. 90s.
Yes.
Multiple, obviously
multiple games.
Because
yes.
You're okay. Male or female?
Male.
Action?
Yes.
Adventure?
Not adventure.
Okay.
Action game. Platformer.
Action platformer. Third person? Oh,
no.
Yeah, because platformer.
No.
Wait. Oh.
Side scroll.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's still technically third person, but that's fine.
Sorry.
No. You're okay. I just trying to be specific. Don't worry. So around in the 90s, 80s?
I don't believe so. I do believe this iteration was in the 90s. Put it this way, this character appears in one of these titles, but is a known character through the titles.
Oh, okay. That kind of throws me off a little bit, actually. Platformer. Face of a console.
What do you mean by that? I stopped the time I so you can clarify, because I want to, before I answer that, I want to be sure what you mean by that. Like Nintendo's Mario?
Yes.
Console, no. Company, yes.
Huh. I was gonna say Sonic, because that's why I was asking that question.
Gotcha. No, it is not. It's not Sega.
It's like Sega was okay. So it wasn't a console; it was a company. Interesting. Oh man,
15 seconds.
I was gonna think Crash Bandicoot, because he's kind of the face of like
you're in the right realm of thinking.
Okay.
It is not a AAA tier company.
Gotcha.
I would say just below that.
Okay. Can I ask one last question?
Sure.
Stupid. I mean, it's probably not going to help me. Are they at any point a Smash character?
So, yes. Okay. But not a playable Smash character. They are one of the support characters.
Okay. I'm trying to see if I can piece that together, because is that what you meant? So I know this isn't the thing. Is that what you meant when you were like not not a main character, like recent? Like,
so even in the main game run, he is not a main character. Of this game franchise, but he is
I feel like I stole a question.
No, you're fine.
Like I didn't.
He is a well-known character in the game franchise, although not the main character.
Gotcha. So they appeared in Smash, but they weren't playable in Smash. I wanted to say like Tails.
Now,
that's
I'll preface this again.
okay.
The main character of this game is in Smash.
Right.
Sonic would be in the.
It's
that's
not,
why I was.
yeah,
That's
which
why
is,
I was
yeah,
thinking
it's
Tails, because it would be like,
it's not
okay, they weren't
Tails.
the face of the franchise, but they were in the franchise. Well, I made my guess, so you can.
It is Proto Man from Mega Man.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So technically, he's on, which he is kind of a playable character, I think, at 9 and 10, but the game that he is in is 3, which I believe was in the 90s. I can't remember the exact date of.
I just want to, yeah. I'm just not that it would help me have fixed it, but like answered it properly.
And the
I don't
company I
think
was looking
Proto
for was
Man
Capcom.
should. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think Proto Man appeared until maybe if it was the 80s, it was like super late 80s. But yeah, no, you're fine. You got me.
I was thinking 3 was somewhere in the early 90s. That's why I was.
I'll tell you right now. 1990.
Yeah, so I've.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like that, like I said, it was either right on the cusp of
Yeah.
80s or like, yeah.
Yeah, see, because he's also, like I said, he's also a support character in Smash, which I wish they would just make him a character because I love Proto Man. Okay. Hey, you got close. You were in the right. That's 2 weeks in a row. You've been in the right headspace. You've been so close to it. All right. Porto.
All right.
KJ. I don't know why I switch between. I don't know why I do.
Well,
I'm so used to calling you.
Yeah.
Okay. 90 seconds. I realized I said 60 seconds when I told you. 90 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel this time.
Part of the Avengers.
Yes.
Secondary Avengers.
Yes.
Like West Coast Avengers.
No.
Male or female?
Male.
Mutant or
Mutant.
human? Okay. Part of the X-Men.
Yes.
Founding member of the X-Men.
No.
Have they led the X-Men?
I don't know that offhand, but I do believe I remember them at one point kind of leading the X-Men.
Do they have elemental powers?
No. I don't. No, I'm standing by that.
Have they ever wielded the power of the Phoenix Force?
That's not going to help you because most of the characters in the X-Men have wielded. I don't think this character has. If he has, I apologize.
Do they have regenerative powers?
No.
Okay. What makes Deadpool and Wolverine? Led the X-Men. I don't know. Black or white?
White.
Were they ever shown in the 90s cartoon?
Yes.
Shit. Do they mainly operate in New York?
No.
Okay.
And that's time.
It's not Scott Summers. Iceman?
No. So
no, I said elemental powers. Fuck.
I should tell you, Scott was a damn good close guess.
Yeah, the only reason I couldn't say Scott is because when you said founding member,
it's not Scott.
No. It's his fucking son, isn't it?
No.
Okay.
Related. It's Havoc.
Havoc. Oh. As soon as you said Scott was close, I was like, ooh, it's
so he didn't lead the West Coast Avengers, or he wasn't with the West Coast, but he was with the Avengers Unity Squad.
Oh. That's what.
And he also is in the 90s cartoon, although I don't think they specifically name him as Havoc. It's Havoc.
Okay.
Because it's X Factor. They run into X Factor.
At first I thought it was Deadpool because technically he was part of the secondary team.
Yeah,
He
and
is
I
a
also don't
mutant.
remember if he
Yeah,
gets the
no.
Phoenix Force. I want
Oh, yeah.
to. Does he?
It's
I don't.
I asked that question. I'm like, that's
Because you
damn
asked
near
it, and I go
everybody.
like, that's a lot of people, Porno. You sure
A
you want to
loaded
go with
question.
that one? There's a lot of people that have had that.
That's like asking, hey, have they ever wielded a lantern ring in DC?
Yeah, really.
Because damn near everyone
Everybody,
has.
yeah. All right, my favorite one. You all usually get these, so I can't say. You all usually get the wrestler one. Are you all ready for the wrestler? I'm gonna give you a minute 30, and I believe in you guys.
I'm ready.
All right, minute 30 on the clock, starting now.
Do they wrestle for AEW?
Nope.
WWE.
Yes.
WCW?
No.
TNA.
Yes.
ECW?
No.
Currently
Okay.
active.
Currently active US?
Yes.
No.
Wrestled
Active
during
in
the
the early
2000s.
2000s. Yeah.
Active in the 2000s? Yes.
2010s.
Yes.
Which one?
2010. Sorry.
Okay. Ever won a championship?
Yes.
Tag championship?
No.
Heavyweight, like main
Yes.
championship in TNA
TNA.
and
WWE?
WWE.
No.
R-Truth.
No.
No. That's he held the NWA, so that doesn't count. That doesn't count as a
He has held
It's a main
titles in
title.
both companies. Only TNA is the World Heavyweight one.
Intercontinental.
No.
US.
US.
Yes.
LA Knight.
No.
Samoa Joe.
No.
Damn it.
Was he in NXT at all?
No.
Okay. TNA, WWE, and US title, TNA title. Bobby Roode.
No.
Because they haven't held tag titles.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I forgot. All right. Yeah.
Let's see. Do they wrestle in the indies now?
Yes. Well, up until 2019.
Are
He's
they
not,
dead?
No, he's still alive.
Oh.
He's just not active.
Fucking Christ. That scared the fuck out of me.
Time.
So 2010s.
Retired in 2019.
So I'm feeling generous.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a not exact hint, but one.
You did say not active, and I said.
But one in our conversations that should mean something. This should help a little bit. There's a TNA group that I'm known to be a big fan of, that none of you seem to be a big fan of. That happened kind of towards the end era of good TNA. And he was a focal point. I would say top 3 focal point of this team.
EC3?
No.
And
fuck.
What did you say?
Ken Kennedy. Ken Anderson.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Kennedy.
I forgot he was a
Kennedy.
US champion.
Yeah, he was, because he's supposed to be. He was the Money in the Bank, and then he didn't injure his arm, but he did.
And he lost it to Edge, and then that's how
Yeah.
Edge. Yeah.
Because what was it? Allegedly, he injured his arm, but he actually didn't. They just misdiagnosed his injury.
So NXT no, but he was OVW, which was their fuck you. That's my hometown.
No. I'm saying that doesn't, because I would have. Yeah. So you were fine in saying no.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, no, I was
that's
just
what I mean.
I was prefacing that, although not NXT was in their development.
Samoa Joe was a good choice.
No, hey, you had some good shots.
Samoa Joe, world champion TNA, only won the US title.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Well, NXT title.
Yeah.
I think he's only won US and NXT.
So did my hint give it away? Was that
as soon as I figured aces and eights, I mean, I was kind of on the fence, because I was like, man, who else would have won?
Fucking ace and the eighth had everybody in it.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, but it had. I mean, but if you think about it,
yes,
like,
but
who is
that's
in
why
WWE, right? So like, the only people that were in WWE that were in Aces and Eights
the
were
Dudleys,
the Good Brothers, the Dudleys, and Anderson and Taz. Like, I don't think anybody else was really.
were both of the Good Brothers in?
Yeah,
Was Carl
Anderson
Anderson?
wasn't. Gallows was.
I say I remember Gallows was.
Yeah, I just kind of threw Anderson.
No,
in
I was
there,
like, man, did I not remember that group as well as I thought I did?
but,
and that's why I prefaced it with I thought he was kind of like top 3 in that group.
was it Garrett Bischoff? No, it was not Garrett Bischoff.
Anderson.
Yeah, I also would have. I would have took Anderson as well. I would have either named.
Well, that's why I said Kennedy, and then I went Anderson. So like, it could have been either
one. Hailing from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
D'Lo Brown also was in Aces and Eights.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's right. I forgot D'Lo Brown said that. Fucking say Taz.
I love D'Lo Brown, but yeah, no, that doesn't. I don't think about that when
the best part of
Mike Knox.
D'Lo was doing his fucking little head bob.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, I just saw a thing too, and it was like, if you're in your like early to mid 30s and you didn't at one point like do this when you were like walking around,
it's like the Ace Ventura thing too. Like, it's what Ace Ventura. Yeah.
Funny enough, I don't want to get it because it's too much of a hassle to get. I have a bunch of wrestling pins. There's a D'Lo Brown one, and it does do a head bobble.
Oh my god!
I got it from the fucking Russell crates.
Did he retire forcibly, or like did he get injured and retire?
Didn't he almost? No, he injured someone and forced them to retire because he put someone in a wheelchair.
That was Draws. Yeah,
he power slammed him one time, and guy just.
It was a running power bomb.
Yeah,
he did a running power bomb to Draws, and broke his neck. In which Draws never held that against him, which was awesome.
But I guess he chose to retire because of it. I guess.
No, he did it. He stopped wrestling full time. There was a while in like the mid 2000s where he stopped wrestling, and then he kind of like came back. He popped up in WWE in like 2008 or 9. And it was really weird because I was like, oh, fuck, D'Lo's back. Like, that's cool. Like, let's do something with him. And then they didn't. And then I think that's around the time he popped back up in TNA, if I remember correctly.
He retired in 2019.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, he did get really heavy at one point, and then he dropped a bunch of weight and started making his in-ring comeback. And I didn't know much about it after that.
Actually, he had a match in, let's see, CWE Cruel Summer Tour in 2024. It was July.
Oh, so recent.
Bentley, Bryce Bentley and D'Lo Brown defeated the Canyon Corporation of Kevin O'Doyle, and Sean Martins.
O'Doyle rules.
So he wrestled BCWG. Okay, so he's
super underrated wrestler, by the way. Like,
yeah, I don't disagree.
Solid moveset.
Athletic for a big guy.
Yeah, because he's, obviously, in the 90s, the Attitude Era, like, he was not the biggest guy, but he's a big guy. Like, and he's doing shit that, like, you look at guys his size nowadays, you would never think that guy's doing that. Or you would be like, because there's so many smaller guys now, you're like, oh fuck, like a Jacob Fatu, for example.
Yeah.
Where like he's not a huge guy, but because he's bigger than most people nowadays, you're like, oh fuck, he's doing this thing, and you're like, oh wow, that's really impressive.
Well, I saw I don't know if you follow the Undertaker's podcast at all whatsoever. I get clips from it from time to time. And I really like the ones where they've had the Godfather on.
Yes.
And they were talking about, like, athleticism and big guys, because they were talking about Mabel, and some of his stuff that he did. But they talked about Yokozuna, where it was like he was like, as big as he was super agile, and like, they even talk about the super kick. He's like, he could hit that on almost anybody, and it was like it didn't strain him. It was like nothing. And I thought that was interesting. I would have never thought.
Rikishi, because again, big guy, but it was hitting that kind of, what do they call it, a savate kick, but it wasn't
Yeah.
technically a super kick at the time. But yeah,
It's not a sweet chin music unless you tune up the band.
correct.
Yes.
It's just a super kick.
Trying to think of somebody else that was.
But yeah, the Godfather interview was funny because he talks about like kind of him leaving, and people thought that it was like Vince firing him. He's like, "No, you just couldn't do my bit, and I didn't want to do anything else." He's like,
Yeah. Another entertaining guest that I saw in there was Midian, or one of the Godwins. Was it Henry or?
"Oh,
Midian?
gotcha."
Henry, yeah.
Yeah, that was. I've enjoyed what I've seen from that. It's been a pretty fun, laid back podcast to watch. Although, I guess now I can't like him because.
All right, so let's talk about that real quick. And here's all I'm gonna say.
Talk about the Donald Trump sized elephant in the room.
Here's what I'm gonna say. If you're basing your like for a wrestler based off of who they vote for in elections, like that's kind of silly to me. And here's why. We're this like weird trend of like, oh, the Undertaker never had a good match or was never ever good in the ring or like never was entertaining. And I'm like, are you saying that because you don't agree with him politically? And here's the thing, like, whether you agree with him politically or not, you can disagree with him politically, but like, I was a big Undertaker fan. Do I agree with everything he says all the time? No. Do I think sometimes he's overly critical of like newer locker room etiquette and all this other stuff? Sure. Do I, um, Mark Calloway and the Undertaker are at this point two different people.
Yes.
And that's okay. Right? Like and also vice versa. Like you can disagree with Dave Bautista and still appreciate Dave Bautista as the wrestler.
Yeah.
Or even the fucking actor. Like you don't have to agree with his politics to be like, oh, I never liked Batista because he's a fucking. It's like, who cares, dude? Like, if you enjoyed his work when you were growing up, or you enjoyed his work as a young adult, or even just an adult, depending on your age, it doesn't matter. If you enjoyed his work, or you enjoyed him in the Guardians of the Galaxy, or you enjoyed him in whatever, you're still allowed to do that. Like, you don't have to dislike him because he doesn't vote for who you vote for. That just makes you the idiot. Like, I don't understand why this is like a thing now.
Yeah.
Oh, the Undertaker never had a good match. It's like, that's
I
fucking factually false. Like, oh, I never liked the Undertaker. Sting was always better, and this and that. And I'm like, you didn't even watch Sting in the fucking 90s. Shut up. Like, you didn't watch Sting in TNA. You saw him in WWE and you saw him in AEW, and now all of a sudden, because Undertaker came out and did something with Trump, now you're like, oh, Sting was always better. And it's like, when did you watch him?
See,
when?
I fall into the TNA Sting group. That's
the TNA Sting was the best thing. I will stand by that. We've said that before on the podcast before, and that's okay. My thing is, I watched him in the 90s. I watched him in the early 90s, the mid 90s, the late 90s, the early 2000s in TNA, the 2010s in TNA, the 2010s in WWE, and whatever this last 2020s of AEW was. I watched most of his career.
Oh, he also signed a new deal.
And the 3 times it ended.
Who did? I'm sorry.
Sting.
Oh,
Sting is confirmed he signed a new deal with AEW.
That's weird.
I mean, he's just retired from in-ring.
Just as like a
I think
Legends
it's their
contract
version of a Legends. Yeah,
okay.
I think it's an AEW version of a Legends deal.
Wow, what's the word I'm thinking of? Remember when they signed Flair to that contract after he retired, and it was like not a spokesperson, but like a
affiliate.
Fuck, I can't think of the word. Whatever the word is, but like somebody to like promote the brand or whatever. Ambassador. That, I think that's what it was. Like ambassador fucking thing that they had Flair to after he retired.
The Woo Bastard.
No, but that was more like, he's not part of the roster.
Whoa.
This is more like Sting is part of the roster. He'll make candid appearances.
God damn it!
It's because you
for
leaned.
Half a second. I did. I went this way because I was like, I was scratching my foot for a second. That's what happened. Come back, you bitch. Like that's. Come on, don't. Don't go away. Don't. I'm right here. Look, face. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'm here.
Look at me.
Look at me. I'm
in focus now.
Yeah, I'm in focus now, bitch. Like that's.
Lord.
Yeah, it's this weird like thing that now I'm seeing, and it's I said the joke to you guys before, and it's like I saw somebody post, and it was like, let's just talk about it and get it out there in the open. It's like the Young Bucks are better than the Brothers of Destruction. I'm like, boy, do I have news for you. Do I have news for you? If you're basing this off of political affiliations, you are going to be sorely disappointed in a lot of people. But also, who gives a shit? Unless they're like coming out and saying like, he should be burned at the stake. You know what I mean?
Like they're like Val Venus.
Right. Like, that's different, right? Like that's just a
in all fairness, I didn't like Val Venus before I knew his political affiliations.
Right. But I'm saying like that's a valid reason not to like someone.
I mean, I didn't. I watched him in the 90s and early 2000s. He was fine, but like I wasn't checking for Val Venus's fucking opinion on life.
Yeah.
Even 20 years ago. Who gives a shit? But like, yeah, if unless they're coming out and saying some off the wall shit, like just to write somebody off based off of like who they vote for in elections. I've had this conversation. I don't know if we've had this conversation on here before, but like if you base your entire personality based off of who you vote for in elections or based off of which company you prefer to watch, like that's a you thing, dude. Like that's a you problem. I don't find you any cooler because you voted for this person over this person. If you're still a piece of shit, but you voted for the same person I voted for, guess what, dude? You're a piece of shit. Like, it doesn't matter. I just don't like I don't get it. Like I don't we let this like ruin our lives. We stop being friends with people. We stop talking to family members because of like this insignificant thing that changes nothing. It changes nothing.
It's all a game. We don't have the dice.
Right. You want to vote for Trump? Vote for him. You want to vote for Harris? Vote for her. You know what's going to change when you vote for that person or the other person? Fuck all. Nothing's going to happen.
Yep. No,
It just makes us feel good because we did this righteous thing. Nobody cares. You don't win brownie points. Nothing changes. You still have to go to your 9 to 5 tomorrow. Deal with it. That's it.
Unless you're Asmongold.
And then you just hire people to clean up your fucking roach-infested shithole. Because you don't know how to like fucking take care of yourself. Can't even drink a fucking sip of water without fucking gagging because it's actually good for you. Yeah, like, you know.
I forgot about that. He's like rabies.
Yeah. Bro, like
that's got rabies.
No, he can't drink water.
Yeah.
If you have rabies, like hydrophobia is like one of the last.
Oh, really? I didn't fucking know that. That's
like, bro, at that point, just drink the stuff under the sink and see how quickly you can win. Like, who cares? Like, who the fuck? Go away. Go into the safe and play swallow the bullet. Who cares? Right?
Oh
like,
my god.
Okay. We're gonna.
I might need to bleep that one out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Jesus Christ. That got really dark really fast.
If you can't take care of yourself and you're a grown man,
take care of yourself in a different way.
Or have somebody do it. Pay them. You have money. Pay them. I'll offer my services.
The sentiments of other people are not my own.
I want the viewers to know I have a notepad right here that has everything that I don't know why I do it. I don't know. I might as well just chuck this shit in the fucking toilet and just flush and just let
Hold on. Here's what I'll say in defense of you. It's nice to have a guideline, but I'm here to fuck that up. Like I am. I don't care. Because it's just more fun this way. For me, at least. I know it stresses you out, and I apologize because I love you.
All I think is how much I'm gonna have to edit, and then I'll think I'm gonna do it, and then I'll load up my editing software and go, this is fine.
Keep. What's the time marker?
We're at an hour 39.
Okay, so go back like 3 minutes and just edit that. That's really all you need to do.
It's true.
You'll be okay. And then we can edit out all the terrible things I've said, and it's fine. Well, the really like fucked up things I've said.
I wouldn't have anything to write on, but fuck. You know what? I'll figure it out. Oh god.
Yeah. Just a quick.
Why don't you
edit
type
of
in the
just
Discord
nothing.
and put hour 39 just so I know to come back?
I got you. Hold on. I got you.
Oh Lord. So let's transition into actual wrestling now that we've crushed our soapbox down and threw it in the trash. Lot of cool stuff this week. A lot of cool returns, a lot of cool debuts. I'm gonna talk about one that I don't think anybody like. I thought Lash Legend did a fucking great job on her. Is this her main roster debut?
Officially.
I thought she did great.
Like last week, they kind of got interrupted by Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
People did have a fit about that, and I do understand because of the
stuff that's been going on.
The conversations that have been going on based off
allegations.
Exactly. The allegations have been further allegated until this week.
But no, she did a great job. Man, that fucking finish she does on Piper I was impressed. I was like, man, that's, and not to shit talk Piper, like, I ain't got nothing against her being heftier, but that's gotta be difficult. That would be a hard move to hit on in shape people, I feel like. But it looked great. I thought she had a great match, so I'm happy to. So is she officially on the main roster, or was this just fuck it?
They haven't announced anything.
Okay.
No, they're not main roster. It's just the fucking women's tag division is shallow as all hell.
Yeah.
Bianca and Jade have beaten everyone on the entire main roster. They're kind of what's left.
Speaking of tag teams, also, we had a return and a debut this week.
Wait, I just want to say one thing before we switch over. Lash Legend is Jade Cargill, but more tuned as a wrestler.
Yeah, better. You're right.
Yes, like
she has the same, not the same look. Jade looks better. Build. She has a better look. Yeah, not even build. It's just Jade has a better presentation.
Yes,
and she has more abs than Jade. I mean than Lash.
Jade has better presentation. Lash has better execution.
I do love their entrance though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always been like, even in NXT, I forget the name of that group, but it's like Noam and
Metaphor.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I knew it was something simple that I was gonna fuck up, but I've always enjoyed that entrance where it's like the different colors with the background and it's them and then
it's just their silhouettes.
I dig that. The presentation for them is great.
I like the NXT women's division. If you brought them all up to the main, if you brought like the main hitters up to the main roster, they would do great.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Lash, Jada Parker, Lola Vice, not Nikita Lyons, don't fucking care. Arguing with your mama.
I was gonna bring that up. Where did this random Twitter everybody hates Nikita Lyons thing start? Like I'm not fully understanding.
It's not hate. It's just more like best way to explain it. Nikita Lyons was the first of many of the let's get these bad Instagram females into the wrestling world from outside, from social media, into wrestling, into NXT specifically.
Okay.
She was one of the first, so she stood out. But now you have brought in a more variety of women.
Sure.
So she looks worse in comparison.
And I will be fair to her because everybody's like, oh, she's already wearing 2 knee braces. And I'm like, injuries happen, dude. Like, you can't just be like, hey, fuck you for getting injured. Like, because again, who else
gets injured a lot? Chris Statlander. You know who else get injured a lot? Tegan Knox. They can still wrestle. So
Yeah.
the injury thing has nothing to do
Talking
with it.
about double knee braces, like again, I
Yeah.
think does Stat have both
Tad and
knees
Tegan.
and
Both.
Tegan? Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
why I brought those two
Let's
specifically.
bring up another person if we want to talk about
Dakota
Twitter in
Kai.
2024 compared to back in the day. You know who else will? And again, this is by no means comparing them, but Austin. Imagine like we were basing Austin's knees off of like, oh, this guy can't fucking stay healthy, man. What a piece of shit wrestler he is. And it's like,
That's
hold
what
on, like injuries happen, man. Like I'm not knocking her for
it's
that, but like I'm seeing
yeah.
things like, oh, she
She's
moves
moving
like
like Nash.
Taker at the end of her career, and I'm like, bro, she can't. She just came back from fucking 2 knee injuries. Like,
Yeah.
let's give her some time. Like, yeah,
It
if
was
in 6 months from now she's still moving around like shit, that's a different scenario, right? Because then that's just she's not progressing,
Yeah.
she
and I'm
didn't.
fine with that. Like,
She was a talent they pulled from it wasn't NWA, it was actually Women of Wrestling.
yeah,
They pulled her from WoW. She
yeah,
wasn't that she was just she was a Zeus reality star that turned into a wrestler
right,
that is more over because of her looks, not because
sure.
of her in-ring talent. And now because the women's roster is stacked with a lot of women who look just as good and
Stacked already.
also
Can work. Yeah,
can work way
yeah.
better than her, she just gets diminished. And now
Right.
it just
I
became a
just I
pile on
just think it's
her
a
because she's still
weird
getting that
thing.
freaking
Yeah,
title.
I just think it's a weird thing that everybody's starting to pile on her for no reason, and I'm like, listen,
It's the flop of when she debuted. She was overhyped when she debuted. Now
sure,
she's returned and now she's overly hated. She
yeah,
can't find a middle ground.
she was gone for so long that so many good talents came in, and again, not saying she's bad, but
Yeah,
she is
she's mid.
relatively inexperienced compared to a lot of these people coming in, and
Mhm.
some of them are picking it up better than she is. It's the
Alani
same thing with
Dorgan.
like Jade,
Saul
right? Like
Ruka.
Jade's been wrestling for what 2021,
About 2
2020.
years.
Jade,
Jade,
three,
yeah.
four, like 4-ish, almost 4, give or take. And I mean, here's the other thing. Like, they gave her the Goldberg treatment. She wasn't wrestling real matches, so she didn't. She started wrestling real matches.
2020. So 4
Okay,
years.
so like 4 years, give or take. Um, she wasn't wrestling a lot of real matches, and they kind of threw her onto TV really quick because of her look, which makes sense. I get it.
Yes.
They gave her the Goldberg treatment, and same thing with Goldberg. Again, I'm not defending Goldberg by any means, but like
Brett would roll in his
you're
grave.
you're getting you're getting no progression by having a fucking 90-second match. Like
But
it's not helping you, right? And
so
that was a
the
big thing with Goldberg. He wasn't wrestling real matches, so the conditioning wasn't there. There was no progression. It was just like he did this move really well, this move really well. It looked really good. He does that every night. Great. 173-0, yada yada yada.
but how
He
much
had
can we put that on
173
AEW?
matches. No, I'm not putting it on AEW. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not AEW's fault, but it's also not necessarily just her fault. Like
It,
her having,
the longer her career goes, the more it gets called into question. Was it her? Because when she was interviewed about it, she was like, "Oh, well, not her, but I think it was Triple H who said her training wasn't up to par."
yeah, and
And it was
that's
like she was getting trained by Danielson, one of the
right.
best technical wrestlers ever. It's
But they
like,
threw her on TV. I think they threw her on TV too quickly. Again, I
yes,
get the
they put her in
presentation
a,
because of what she looks like, and she is an amazing looking human being.
but it doesn't
Uh,
seem like she's improved since then. It doesn't. There's not this
no, not
big
to an
improvement
extent,
for
which is
4
why
years.
they threw her in the tag team with Bianca.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense. If you're gonna cover up any holes in her game, that's the
Also,
best
I
way to
need
do
them to
it.
go heel. I feel like that
I
women
would be
were
great
way
with
better
that.
as
Yeah.
heels.
I think that would make perfect sense. Bianca as a heel is great. I don't know why they insist
Jade as
on
a
keeping
heel is
her face.
money. It
But
prints
yeah,
money because
Jade,
she
yeah.
has that attitude about her. Jade,
And the
Bianca hasn't
face.
worked.
Just her face makes like
Bianca
perfect
hasn't
heel.
worked heel since she was in NXT.
She was a heel until she got to the main roster, I think. Like
No, she was face when she was called up.
she was heel most of her NXT run though.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was more known as a heel in NXT But
Right.
as soon as she was brought up to the main roster, she was teamed with the Street Profits.
No, was she really?
Yeah.
I thought that was the thing where they weren't teamed together, but it was like, hey, they're in a relationship. It makes sense for them to team together. And then, I mean, because she was pretty solo for the longest
For the
time.
most part, but she was teamed up with the Street Profits when she first debuted.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cause I remember it was like she was going after Raw belts because they were doing the whole bit with Zelina and not who the fuck was it? Andrade
Yeah, it was
and
Andrade
Angel
and
Garza.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the spot where it was no audience, and Montez did that bad landing.
Yeah.
Forgot all about that. Where he landed flat on his back,
Yeah.
just
Took it like
jumped
a
out the
champ.
ring. Yeah, fucking Jesus Christ! The fact that his back isn't fucked up from that is a miracle.
Good for him.
But
I need that man to win a belt.
Yes.
On the other end of returns from injuries, War Raiders made their
Return last week
as the War Raiders.
As the War Raiders.
Got their
not the Viking experience, not the Viking Raiders.
The
also
War
got their
Raiders.
old music back, which leads into the fact that the rumor is they're not renewing the contract with Def Rebel.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense because most of Def Rebel stuff has been pretty bad. And it's not like it's new, so I don't like it kind of thing. It's just not.
Everyone's theme seems the
same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Like the biggest thing was I remember Rumble.
You couldn't tell who
and
was
it was
who.
like you didn't know who was coming out unless it was like a super established person, and you're like, that kind
until you hear them say their bit at the beginning of the song, which I still hate that they started
doing. That's a meme. Yeah.
That everyone started saying something at the beginning of the theme.
There's only certain people, like a Chelsea Green thing. I don't mind them putting the whole Chelsea Green like that.
I actually don't like that. I don't like it only because she's on SmackDown now. But if she got put on Raw and Samantha Urban did it again, it would seem redundant. To do the Chelsea Green at the beginning of her entrance and then for Samantha Urban to do it again.
Perfect solution. If she goes back to Raw or Samantha switches to SmackDown, just take it out.
No, just take it out in general.
Well, yeah, but
just take it out.
I think it's just fun because that's become such a thing for her.
Because they told Samantha Urban to stop doing it, and people noticed it so immediate and said, "No, give Samantha Urban her flowers.
Let her do it again." Yeah, because it was great. Yeah, but most of that's like I know it became a meme of like so and so says their phrase and then the music starts and I'm like, yeah, that needs to stop because it does happen.
Usos got it before Def Rebel because it's more like because they say it in a way that's not like just saying their name. Yeah, because they were doing it with the
same thing with New Day. Right, like Big E doing that. It's a new day. Yes, it is, and like that's obviously like a thing.
Tiffany Stratton makes sense.
Yeah,
because her whole gimmick is saying it's Tiffy time. That one makes sense.
Yes,
as an egotistical heel, hearing herself say it at the beginning of her theme makes sense.
What are some other
like
ones?
even if you go back like X-Pac, right? X-Pac had the X-Pac or like what, however it came, and then you're like,
I fucking hate DI. You don't know the hatred
because both of them had really good themes prior to, so like having that.
Johnny Gargano has been fucked over for themes for so long.
Bring Rebel Heart back.
Thank you.
And then Ciampa had like two really good themes.
No One Will Survive is still a great theme.
Ciampa, when he came out to no music, was like peak Ciampa because he was getting "fuck you" chants like for the longest time, which was awesome.
They'll never get to that heat again.
No, it would be great if he did.
They can only do that in NXT. I don't think they could ever do that on the main roster. Doing the no, because that's only happened twice. It was Ciampa, and I forgot someone else did the same thing.
Sounds like a
where
Joe
they came out to no, huh? No,
like
it wasn't Joe. This was later NXT, where they just came out to no music and just sat in the middle of the ring. No, it was Wesley, where he just came out.
Yeah.
It was Wesley or Carmelo Hayes. No, it was Carmelo Hayes at the Turn on Trick.
Oh, yes.
Where he came out, no music, sat in the middle of the ring on a chair, put the mic to his mouth, and then walked off without saying a word. But it was silence. But yeah, no, DIY is mid right now. I hate
they're
their
number
theme.
one contenders. What do you mean? They're gonna
Their
win this
theme is-
championship.
Oh no,
theme
that
is-
their theme is trash.
Wow.
I am excited to watch a Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY match.
Oh, match is gonna fucking feed families.
Bangers. It's gonna be.
But
a
yeah,
banger.
so to kind of key into what
Step on
I
my
kind of
fucking
just.
shit.
I'm sorry, man.
No,
I'll
no,
stop
it's
talking.
fine,
You can just
no.
you do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. Edit me the fuck out. I totally didn't say MCMG. Anyway, so who debuted this week, Onyx? Like, you tell me what happened.
I do like the prior to them, the little signing segment. I like the TNA reunion you have there between all of them.
I didn't realize they all wrestled at Bound for Glory last year.
Yeah.
Nick
That's
Aldis.
so funny. Yeah.
Like,
I
there's a lot
forgot
of
that that was last year. Like, for some reason in my brain, that was like multiple years ago.
You know what I'm most happiest about all of this? They kept the fucking name. I was praying, please don't do some stupid iteration of like the Motor City Madmen or some shit like, because that's just very WWE.
But that was very Vince WWE.
That's true.
So that's why they changed again that whole thing with the Viking experience, and you're like, what is this? This is terrible.
You're
They went
experiencing it.
they went from War Machine to War Raiders, which is fine. You want your specific spin on it, but War was like a big thing because they had the war chance, the war. Like that was a big thing for them. And when they lost that, like they lost a lot of momentum.
Did they come back at their day when they came back? Did people still do that?
I'd have to go back and check.
I can't remember.
I heard the music and I was like, oh, they got the NXT music back. Like that was great. They got the War Raiders music back, and I was pumped for that. Because like alluding to the fact that they have like the Viking type of vibe to them is one thing, but like making that their whole spiel was like a whole different. Like it's just like it's overly gimmicky.
Yeah, this is in the 90s.
Like if they have Sarah Logan with them still, let her be Sarah Logan. She doesn't have to be Valhalla.
See, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that.
But it's just for me, it's just like that overly
yeah.
gimmick. If this was like the early '90s, I'd be like, oh, this has a perfect place in this new generation version of WWF. But because we're like trying to get
away from
a little,
that.
Yeah, we're just like you don't need the overly gimmicky like goofball gimmick stuff, especially for those guys. Like those guys don't need that.
Yeah. But no, Motor City Machine Guns had a great match. Of all the matches to debut, a triple threat tag match. I thought it was
that was an interesting call. Yeah,
I thought it was a great mixture of seeing some of their kind of, what would be the term, their highlight moveset. So if you've never seen these people before, you kind of know. I did like, I forget who said it, but it was, this tag team is your favorite tag team's favorite tag team. And I'm like, man,
yeah,
that's great. Like that's, but no, I'm super hyped about it. I was telling KJ before we recorded, I have been and always will be a Motor City Machine Gun fanboy to the day that I die.
First team to kick out of the 3D.
Yep.
That's huge.
No, it is. Yeah, it's.
And I mean, like, first team to kick out of a 3D from like a 2 count, not like a pin broken up type of thing. Like
yeah.
That was big. Like that was a big thing for them. Like the Dudleys or Team 3D or when they were in TNA,
whatever, yeah,
put them over pretty big for that because nobody at that point had kicked out. Kind of like Drew kicking out of End of Days, which I still am not in love with because I love End of Days as a finisher.
I still think that finisher should always be a not kick out finisher. It's just too cool of a
so
finisher.
Drew kicking out at WrestleMania, like obviously huge moment because nobody had ever kicked out of it before, but Yeah. Same thing. Kenny Omega's One Winged Angel.
Yep.
Only a select. I think Okada.
Yep. Kota Ibushi
and Ibushi. Was anybody else ever kicked out of it? Like a 2 count, not like
Kenny.
a broken up pin?
Kenny.
Who? Well, yeah, he kicked out of somebody else doing his finisher to him.
Will Ospreay probably.
Yeah.
Well, that one random guy Will Ospreay did.
Yeah.
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 Wait, he hit the One Winged Angel and it forced his arm everywhere.
But
Will
yeah,
Ospreay
no,
was
like
a dickhead.
I'm all for protected finishers. I think too many finishers are kicked out of like Cody doing the triple fucking crossroads is one of my biggest pet
peeves. I fucking
peeves.
hate it.
It's one thing when you're like, okay, it's Roman. He kicked out of the first one in a big WrestleMania match, so you do it 3 times and be like, fuck you, bro, stay down.
It's every
That's
pay-per-view.
different. But yeah, now when he's doing it to like Solo and you're like, I'm a fan of Solo, but obviously he's not on Roman's level because he hasn't had enough time to be on Roman's level. If this was 4 years from now Solo and he was on like a tremendous run and you did that, that's different. You're just on a random like Backlash or whatever pay-per-view they wrestled at, fucking Clash at the Castle or fucking Bash in Berlin or wherever they wrestled. I don't fucking remember.
Clash Bash.
The Clash Bash at the Bashel? Yeah, I don't fucking... Oh, they did wrestle at SummerSlam. I see. That's
the Clash
Bash. Like,
the Crash.
Yeah, whatever. The Bash at the Clashel.
The hash slinging, slash flinging, trash slinging.
Daddy, no. Daddy, yes. Sorry. Sorry, I watched it. Oh,
and you want to edit me out? What kind of kinky shit are we getting into?
I watched a video where a bunch of people watched the SpongeBob movie.
And
they got to the part where Plankton was brainwashing King Neptune, and his daughter goes, "Daddy, no," and Plankton and the entire audience go, "Daddy, yes." It is the most audible, like frustrating thing ever.
Christ.
It is hilarious to watch.
Well, so speaking of Bloodline, which brings us to our thumbnail for the week.
Yep.
We had Jimmy appear on Raw, wanting to ask for help for Jay.
Looking for Jay, yeah.
No yeet. That was great.
I like that. That was nice.
And then you had Jay.
Red.
Yeah, there you go. We had Jay show up on SmackDown, kind of pleading with Solo, or Little Bro, as he was referred to stop breaking the family up. Also telling Jacob Fatu to stop fucking staring at him, which was great. Such an out of the, like, I think what made it so good to me was that it was so out of nowhere. Like, it was this long monologue he's going on, and then goes, and if this motherfucker doesn't stop staring at me, I'm gonna kick his teeth down his throat.
Camera work wise, they did keep panning to him, kind of like stink eyeing him. So I was like, all right, I get it. Yeah,
he's an intimidating motherfucker. Like, that guy just standing back there, just. Oh God!
But I love that they played into the fact that they had stayed away from him on purpose because of what a fucking lunatic he is.
Yeah,
and I'm like, it's such a fun like little way to kind of build him up to be the killer that he is, and you're like, yeah, we stayed away from him, and we were running roughshod on you motherfuckers for years, and we stayed away from this guy because he's nuts.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay.
And then of course you have this is the first time Jay and Roman have seen each other
since WrestleMania.
Since WrestleMania, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. He also gave Roman the no yeet.
Yes. Because he tried the manipulative bullshit as Jay walked away and grabbed his arm. Like, this is not the same Jay that you were used to controlling throughout the Bloodline.
He got a title. You don't.
Man. Yeah. He can talk back now.
Which, I mean, he did give the whole, the family's proud of you.
It's still
It's a manipulation.
Yeah, it still feels like manipulation.
That's
like,
the thing about Roman. Like, he hasn't really changed, which I do appreciate. Like, he came back and didn't become like I think we said this last week, but he didn't become that like he didn't go, all right, I'm the big dog again. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, all right, I'm 2019 Roman again. Like it was I'm the good guy because I'm facing the bad guys, not because I've become a different person. I'm just fighting against the people you dislike.
Yeah. No, and that's a perfect explanation.
Which is why I know, like, and I saw the tweet where you brought up, like, what's the difference between Adam Cole and Roman, like the whole face, heel thing. And it really just comes down to the way it's presented. Obviously, the opposite side of that, I think we kind of touched on last week, was MJF kind of came back as a face, finished his business with Adam Cole in theory. Then Adam Cole came back because MJF had turned heel. Because at this point, you can't turn MJF back face just to have that continue as Adam Cole the heel. It just wouldn't work. Like it's rough enough. And listen, I hope they pull it off because I like both guys. But like it's rough enough that you're like kind of restarting something after like such a long pause. So you have to kind of tell the story differently. It's not quite the same thing because it's not like Solo was the face before Roman left. And that's why, like it's a weird thing where it's like, well, what's the difference? And I'm like, well,
he was a heel before he left.
There were differences. And neither one of them were on TV for months talking about Cole and MJF because obviously they were both hurt. And again, that's not a knock on either one of them. Shit happens. Like sometimes you just have to scratch out fucking storylines. But Solo was on TV every week and then gradually going, well, Roman didn't get the fucking job done. And you're like, oh, so now like Roman's a piece of shit because, to him, but he's still the piece of shit. So now he's coming back to fight the piece of shit guy. And you're like, oh, okay. It makes sense. But I'm glad they didn't change Roman's character in the sense of like, all right, well, take your vitamins and say your prayers now because I'm,
What you're gonna
I'm the good guy now, brother. Like, like it's not the
which I did you all see the cryptic Kevin Owens fucking Twitter video of
yes,
Randy, you chose him over me? It's like I didn't know that was a question. Like duh.
I do find it interesting that they're trying to rely on social media more for things. I
also think this might be a thing to do a more slow burn as they ramp up to Crown Jewel.
Possibly because they also introduced Motor City Machine Guns on Twitter.
Yes, that one I
thought that was an odd choice. I think their thought process, and I can't speak for them because I'm not in their meetings. Although apparently they're hiring for a writer.
Yep.
I'll apply. Fuck it. I'll probably come up with better shit than those weirdo Hollywood guys that they were fucking hiring for the longest time that had no idea how wrestling worked. Not that I'm a writer by any means. I'm just saying, like, they hired some people that were just obviously not a good fit for a long time.
Make it till you make it.
Like, hire some people with some wrestling knowledge, not just Hollywood writers. Well, I wrote this once upon a time, so let's do that. And it's like, no, that doesn't work. But
doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, it's not gonna work for me, brother. Fuck, I don't remember what I was saying. I got so sidetracked by the fucking writers thing.
Oh,
Hulk Hogan.
Fuck you.
Oh my god. Yeah, fucking. I wrestled 400 days
social
in a year
media
because
stuff.
Japan's different things. Yes, I think what they're thinking is, there's so much discourse online that like having people on Twitter, because a lot of people are paying attention to Twitter and like social media, to be like, oh cool, they're introducing this thing, and like having Kevin Owens do like the videos and stuff. I think that's fine. Maybe introducing Motor City Machine Guns did not make the most sense to me. Kevin Owen videos, I think, make a little bit more sense. Or like we talked about last week, having him attack Cody and basically relying on footage, like security footage, but really it got out based off of social media because people were like, just people from the crowd with their smartphone out like that. It's a cool way to do it. If it works, obviously. Like if it bombs, then obviously it's like maybe we go back to the drawing board.
WWE 2K game mechanics into real life.
Yeah. But yeah, I think again, if this was AEW and they just brought in a team, a lot of people would be like, well, why didn't they kind of give us an introductory thing about them beforehand? Because not a lot of people were watching TNA to know who the Motor City Machine Guns were.
Motor
That
City
applies to
Madmen
WWE too. Like you could have given them, especially if you're partnered with TNA, you can get some of that footage to show some stuff, like just some highlights that they did.
God, especially early fucking Motor City.
Yeah. I mean, you have. I mean, how long have they been wrestling? They've been wrestling for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's just in TNA. Like, you have, realistically, I mean, they did break off singles for a while. I think Alex Shelley wrestled in NXT like for a handful of times before like they got back together as a team. But you still have realistically 10 to 15 years worth of footage.
Even then, I mean,
you
both of them. Saban was X Division champion numerous times. Shelley
right, and that's what I mean. Like
TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
You have so much footage you could use. So it's not fair to be like, well, AEW, when they bring people in, they don't do a good job of building this person up of like hey, if you're not familiar with this person, get familiar with this person. And I feel like they didn't do that for these guys. So it's like, yeah, listen, if it applies to this, it applies to this too. Like you can't just say like, oh hey, AEW does a bad job at presenting new people or like new to you people. WWE just did the same thing because they're expecting you to know who the Motor City Machine Guns were, and like if you're not outside of that WWE bubble, you might not know who they are.
Yeah,
and that's not like again, because I'm so tired of like watching people. Well, you only watch WWE and like this, so you're not a real wrestling fan. That's such a stupid thing to say. But again, there are people who only consume one company, so you need to do a better job at presenting these people.
Yeah. No, I lost my train of thought. I would say
we were talking about their debut.
Yeah. I did like their little nod to TNA in the backstage interview. As they're walking out, and they made an impact.
Yeah.
But speaking, I know we were saying how AEW, both companies could work on showing
presentation.
They presented Shelton Benjamin real fucking well in that his first match with AEW. Yes. He committed a murder. He absolutely killed Leo.
He put that motherfucker back in the retirement.
No, and really like
sorry.
I handle
Leo Rush retirement jokes are
just
funny.
applause to Leo as well, because that match is it's a 2-person dance, so Shelton only looks as good as Leo sells it. And he sold the shit out of it.
And Leo's solid, man. I mean, I did get to watch him live. I know, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like, he did wrestle at the event I went to. I don't know if it was, it might have been like a dark match. I don't know if it actually made it to TV, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed him in NXT. I enjoyed him. I only saw bits and pieces of him on the indies before he joined NXT, so like I did enjoy watching him. Obviously, when he was doing the whole Lashley and like Lashley's like showing his ass to the crowd thing, that was a little weird. But other than that, like, although that has its own fun symmetry too, because he was the mouthpiece for Lashley at one point, and now he went against Lashley's boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was kind of fun.
So when's Lashley showing up?
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now? Pay-per-view?
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be soon.
Because they did a match. Shelton's going to be facing a Swerve 2 weeks from now. So that could be the Swerve wins, and then Lashley shows up.
Has there been word on Cedric? Wasn't Cedric part
Well,
of this
he's
group?
he's in
Definitely signed.
WWE.
No, he's signed for a while now.
With
Yeah.
WWE or
He
with
like
AEW?
re-signed recently, didn't
Yeah.
he? Like
Did he?
like
He's
couple
on
months ago,
NXT
maybe?
now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
With
He's
Shante
teaming with
Adonis.
Ashante the Adonis, which is
Yeah.
the
It's a
lost
team.
member of Hit Row.
Yeah.
Lost
And
and
if you don't
hopefully
remember what
forgotten.
Hit Row was, that was Swerve's group with Top Dollar / AJ Francis and
Top-
BFAB, who's
With the Street
Dollar.
Profits, I think. What? No.
is she
Who
with
is
it?
he? No.
Did
Because
she
that
break
fizzled
off of
out.
the Street Profits?
I think so, because she fizzled out with the whole Pride thing. She hasn't been on TV since
Well,
Bobby
no, she was with them before, like after Bobby left, but I don't think for
left. In
very
the
long.
background, but not like a team
Yeah.
thing.
Wasn't she fighting with Karrion Kross's wife?
No.
I feel like I remember her like taking her out at one. Maybe that was at the.
That was the WrestleMania thing, right?
Yeah, that might have been what I'm thinking of.
Let's see. Does it say what she's doing? I don't care about that.
While you're staring at the Lord, tell him we say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Can we like not? There we go. That's so much better. Jesus Christ. August 16th. Flash is ending the tenure. Blah, 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 blah. The Pride disbanded as a stable, although BFAB continued managing them with no mentions of Pride. So she was with them. I don't know if she's still. I don't remember seeing her recently with them, but this said as of August, Lashley's profile was removed from WWE, but she was still kind of with them here and there.
Yeah.
But Lashley hadn't been seen since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
No, wasn't he in Elimination Chamber, or was that prior to?
That's usually prior to.
Because
they had that like Philly street fight thing, and then that was like the last he appeared, and then Street Profits. Were they no? Were they I can't remember if they were face or heel at WrestleMania.
Face, because they Testament.
Yeah, because they tried to go heel, but they were so likable that it was like, nobody wants to boo you guys because we like all three of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was them against the Final Testament.
Yes. Okay. Yes, that's what it was.
Which I will say as an offshot of something I didn't think to talk about. The more I see interviews with Karrion Kross, the more I just really like the guy, and I hate that his character just isn't transitioning over the way it should.
He never will.
I
promise you.
I'm actually
the guy who will never get over.
I wanted to say the same thing because obviously he did another thing with Chris Van Fleet.
Yeah.
He just comes across as one of the most wonderful human beings.
Yeah.
And you're like, how do you not like this guy? Like he just seems like such a likable human being.
And I can't really figure out what it is that just isn't transitioning. Like the gimmick makes sense.
He seems like a creative character. He seems like a creative character.
I don't know if it's that bland. I don't think it's.
Yes, it is. Again, I think it's the Adam Cole thing.
But that's not fair.
It's not. Again, I'm separating person from career.
Right.
The person, great guy. The career, mid. He was put in NXT during one of a booming period, and he was placed on top compared to everyone they had on the roster. And he just was average. He wasn't putting in good matches, but yet he was NXT champion.
They presented him as a killer, which that was his name before, Killer Kross.
Yeah.
But they presented him as a killer. And then obviously that promo, and everybody stuck to that promo and then kind of used that against him. And again, that's not how he's booked, is not his fault. When he showed up on the main roster in that fucking helmet and whatever that weird like S&M fucking thing. Yeah, that whole thing, that's not his fault either. And that speaks to how people felt about him because they were genuinely upset about the way he was presented from NXT to WWE's main roster, the same way Keith Lee got presented in that fucking Bearcat fucking stupid thing.
Those are two different things. One, it was less about Karrion as a character. It was more as he was NXT champion. He got rolled up by Jeff Hardy in 5 seconds.
Right.
So it was more or less the NXT champion should never be pinned like that.
Yeah.
To look like a geek, and not like, oh, it's because it's Karrion Kross. Unlike Keith Lee, where
I think it's a little of both.
No, it was. I was around during that time. It was the fact that it was the NXT champion, not the fact that it was Karrion Kross. No one gave two shits about Karrion Kross.
Listen, I gave a shit about Karrion Kross. So
I want to give a shit about Karrion Kross.
I still give a shit about Karrion Kross. I just feel like they're not moving with him in a direction that. I just don't think they're moving with him in a direction that they need to.
I tell you, some of it he loses too much for someone that I don't think should lose as much as he does.
Here's what I feel like is a perfect comparison. He's getting the Bray Wyatt treatment, where he gets put in these feuds where he's supposed to be this like guy who's supposed to,
and then immediately loses.
He's supposed to convince this guy to turn on his brother and embrace the dark side and do all this other stuff. And then he loses. And you're like, well, what does this accomplish? Like, you losing all of your feuds accomplishes nothing, which is the same thing we said about Bray for years.
The eater of pen.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Anybody but you, Roman, except every time I face you, you beat me. And then it's like, okay, well, that didn't accomplish anything. Okay, now I'm going to feud with so-and-so, and then they beat me. And then I'm going to feud with this person, and then they beat me. And it's like, the only time where I'm like, okay, I and even then you could argue because he had already lost. You're like, okay, he wanted to wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania. But even then, if you're like, hey, this is going to be the guy, let him beat The Undertaker because you're not expecting it. You're like, okay, great. That's a big thing.
No, we gave
Karrion's presentation is great, but the execution is not.
Because when he first returned, the first thing he did was they inserted him in the main title picture with Roman.
With Drew and Roman, and you're like, oh,
and he never had a match with Roman.
No. And you're like, oh, this could be something. He had some like back and forths with Drew, but Drew wiped the floor with him. And you're like, all right, well, that accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
Like, if they had brought him back, so either don't bring him back in that situation, or if you're gonna bring him back in that situation, make him credible. I'm not saying beat Roman and Drew.
At least let him lose to the champion, though.
Or let him cost Drew, right? Like beat Drew, let him cost Drew, then beat Drew. Like that's fine. He should. I mean, at that point, the logical step would be to do something with Roman. But okay, fine. Roman was doing whatever Roman was doing. It is what it is. Having him feud with Drew, then lose to Drew, and then fuck off did no help for him whatsoever.
No.
And again, great guy. I just saw the thing he said about when he was feuding with Bobby, and I guess Lashley wanted to have like a fake but like legitimate fight backstage, and he goes, what if nobody breaks this up? And it was a really funny story to watch, and it was like it was cool to be like, oh man, because these guys are gonna go to the dirt sheets and be like, oh, these guys have like real beef and like they're really fighting. He goes, yeah, but what if nobody breaks up the fight? And then you're just like kicking the shit out of me. Like, what happens then? Yeah.
Thought process occurred. Because these are two deadly men.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I was back there and those two got to fighting,
you got it, guys.
I'm not getting in the middle of it, and I'm trained.
This motherfucker's breaking baseball bats with his arms.
He just broke 3 of them. He just broke 3 of them in a fucking like triangle hold or whatever the fuck he was doing. And I'm like,
exactly.
Damn, dude.
You think I'm stopping that?
Like neither of these guys are slouches. Like I'm not trying to fight either one of them. And again, I'm a black belt. I'm not fighting either one of these motherfuckers. Like that's not
money. I'm taking bets.
Yeah. So that I thought that was really funny because like to have that presence of mind to be like, I understand what you're saying, but Like,
But-
what happens if it's just us two going at it and everybody's like, all right, let them fucking fight it out. And you're like, ugh.
Somebody's gonna win. Well,
And I mean, at that point, it doesn't matter who wins, but like, how long do we keep this going that we're like trying to kick the shit out of each other?
Yeah. Well, I think that is where we're gonna wrap up. We're hitting the almost 2:30 mark here, so I want to try and wrap this up while we can.
It's that quick episode this week, man.
Yeah, hey, you know what? It's the James Gunn thing. We'd have been quick, but I got on a tangent about the James Gunn thing.
Yeah.
But thank you everybody to come out. If this is your first time seeing it, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment. What should we comment this week? Who are you voting for? No, that's probably not a good one. That's also probably not a great one. Tell me. I'm staying away from it.
Let's go. Neither the Dodgers or the Yankees. Let's go. Baby.
Oh my god.
I hate both
This
of
guy.
you bastards. I'm still upset. I'm just hiding it really well because of the alcohol, but that's besides the point.
Comment what your favorite Asmongold quote was. Let's see. But
and it could be an old one from like years ago.
Yeah,
when he he only had like 2 cockroaches, not fucking 800 of them. So like,
but we thank you for coming and joining us, and we will catch you guys on the other side of the ring. Good night.
Adios.